Ladies and gentlemen of the law enforcement community, what's going on? David's back with the LEO Network, and it's a special edition. We have these special editions when they're relevant to current events. And you might remember we just had Jasen Ortiz on, um, and he's with 000 Tactical. And we're talking about, officer involved shootings and the stresses and so forth. And man, right after we cut this podcast, we had an officer involved shooting, and it's if this isn't a reminder to seek training, whether you want to do it or not, this would be it. And again, before we get into it, before I reintroduce Jasen, and he's going to repeat it several times throughout this podcast, I guarantee it, is we are not criticizing these folks in the sense that we're doing like, how you do in the locker room and so on and so on. We're just pointing out mistakes that any one of us could have made and how we can fix it. And that's why when relevant information comes out there, we have these special editions because it applies to specific trainings that are signed up with LEO Network. And Jasen, this is perfect to his 000 Tactical. Jasen, hello again, brother. It was just yesterday. It seemed like.
Yeah, what's going on, Dave?
Hey, thank you for reaching out. See, now this one usually we're trying to reach out, but Jasen, which I love about this, and this speaks to his training, how serious he's about it. He's looking out for this stuff, and he wants to show you folks and show us all, how we're working on this. And I appreciate that, Jasen. Everything good?
Hey, everything's good, man. I mean, last time we talked, I think like 2 days later, I think I contacted you and said, "Yo, there was a police involved shooting, and you got to check it out." I think it's something that we all can learn from, other than just the department and the officer that was involved in it.
Now, last time I remember you mentioning stuff that I wouldn't really necessarily think to look at, right? And I always joke around about being simple-minded, but I'm willing to bet there's a lot of folks out there that wouldn't think to look at the grip either. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're range masters or something like that. And you were pointing out grip, movement, so on and so forth, right? And so we're going to be looking at, there's a lot of those issues in this video that we're showing today, right? So yeah.
And the main thing, like you said, is like we're not going to get into was she justified or nothing like that. That's not what this is about. This is about her performance under a stressful environment and how she performed in an event that I don't think we train enough. We get hours and hours and hours every year of training and, dealing with, special needs and EDPs and domestic violence. And we don't get enough training what we're about to kind of go over today. And I think this video truly shows it. And it's a stressful situation. You don't know how you're going to react. But if you train and make those mistakes on the range, most likely you're giving yourself a better percentage of, performing at a high level.
Which is interesting too, Jasen, because you talk about, all this training, special needs or whatever, but you mentioned domestic violence, where we have those trainings in domestic violence. And if you look at the officer down page, you know what I'm talking about? The app, it shows, folks that lay down their life rather than swerve from the path of duty. And you look at that, and a lot of those times, there's a lot of scenarios where they're responding to a domestic violence situation. So it's almost like if you're going to go that deep into domestic violence, sure, you take care of the victim and so on and so forth. But I mean, it begs the question: should you incorporate? You run up to a house on a domestic violence call. Be prepared. Maybe the range day, your monthly range day, should be incorporated in that DV training. Am I just running off the deep end here, or is that something you think we would agree with?
Oh, I agree with 100%. I mean, I know a lot of times when we do our yearly qualifications or quarter qualifications, we incorporate use of force. All right.
Mhm.
And what's justified and what's not justified. And I think a lot of people, one thing, a lot of officer involved shootings always, a good percentage of the time, are at domestic violence calls.
Mhm.
That's where it usually happens. It is probably one of the most dangerous calls you're ever going to go to, because I know working nights, a lot of domestic violence calls stem from alcohol use and drug use. And there's always history, and a lot of times when you're rolling over there, you're asking dispatch, hey, any weapons involved? Is there any history there? Is there any registered firearms there? Like, these are things that you're right away going into. But that's not going to prepare you enough for once you actually get there.
Mhm.
The only thing that's going to prepare you is doing it on the range and failing on the range. The one place you don't want to fail is when that situation becomes real.
Muscle memory then.
Muscle memory, again, it's a stressful situation. And if you can just take one factor out of making that mistake, listen, your percentage is going to be a lot higher. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people who watch these videos are looking for perfection out of a law enforcement officer. Unfortunately, you're not always going to get that.
No way. No way.
A lot of factors. And this video has a lot of factors in it.
Okay, so let's set it up. Well, first of all, I want to make sure we stress that yes, this video can be seen. It's already been published on social media and so on and so forth. So we didn't just pull it from, the secret evidence locker from anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You can find this video, and we encourage you to do so, especially after we get Jason to weigh in with his expertise. But so all that being said, where is this taking place?
So this actually took place in, I believe it was Manchester, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, don't you start me the line, bro.
But
Man,
yeah, so this actually took place about a week and a half ago, though. All right. And they've actually already released, the Attorney General has already released these videos to the public. So
okay.
it's all public knowledge. The incident is still ongoing investigation with the officer, because, again, there's a whole process.
Yeah, of course.
But it looks like the call came in as a verbal dispute, possible domestic dispute between husband and wife. The officer arrives and can hear yelling and scream and everything like that. At that point, she makes entry, and clearly, right off the bat, you could tell that this male is intoxicated. It's not that hard for people to kind of sit there like, all right, that person's intoxicated. You could sit here and be like, oh, how do you know for sure? We don't know for sure, but if you've been drunk before, you know how drunk people act.
Yeah,
Slurring, the way
I
they
know how
talk.
I act.
Yeah. So, and I believe there's been history there too. So they've been to this house before, and it's kind of almost like, we've been there before. Let's kind of deal with it. Complacency right away.
Mhm.
So she goes in, makes contact, and right away, she's got her hands out, and he slaps her hands away. She says, all right, well, at this point, I'm going to tase you. Again, I'm not going to get into if that's justified or not, because I don't know their policy out there in that area. I just know what New Jersey is. She goes for a taser, and it's a fail. Looks like she only gets one prong. You need two good connections to get a good, tase.
Mhm.
Taser fails. She basically disengages and walks out of the house. At that point, that gentleman picks up a knife and starts basically standing at the threshold of his door, yelling and screaming. And before you know it, she's drawing her firearm. And now we see him start progressing towards her. And I think it looks like we're about 10 yards, which is not that bad of an engagement area. That's kind of where most law enforcement deal with.
Mhm.
But we train up to 25 and 15. All right. And a lot of people don't understand that. That's one thing. I don't know if you know why we do 25 yards.
No, you could educate me, bud.
So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm never going to engage someone at 25 yards. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right, unless you're really, truly confident in that.
Mhm.
The reason why we do qualifications at that distance is so that instructor knows that you understand the basic fundamentals of shooting: sight picture, sight alignment, recoil management, structure of your body, breathing, all that stuff. If you could take 10 shots and you could hit 6 or 8 out of there, it means you have a clear understanding of the fundamentals of shooting. That's the whole reason why we have that. But with that being said, she's about 10 yards maybe. And at some point, she discharges her firearm. It looks like it was once or twice with, a normal, two-hand shooting. She goes and uses her mic. She now fires with strong hand shooting twice. And then she follows up with 3 more rounds. And it looks like on the last round, you see the gentleman drop.
Okay.
And so I'm going to go with that. We're going to watch this video.
Yeah.
And then we're going to tell you actually more what actually happened afterwards.
Right.
And that's very important.
It is very important. And before we get to it, I'm going to click on it here. Before we get to it, I just want to echo what Jason is saying here. I love when he's saying, listen, we're not talking about, this is not an opinion piece. This is, opinion podcast. We're not here to say, oh, is it justified? Is it not justified? No. If you're in this situation, we're saying, we want it to be where you're in a position where the training is taken over, and you stay safe. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. We're not here to find out, to establish if it was a good shoot or not. So thanks for saying that, Jason. I've said it a couple of times, and quite frankly, I don't think we can say it enough. So I appreciate you saying that.
As many times we say, someone's still going to be like, well, but listen, again, we could sit here all day and nitpick. We're not doing that. I think this is a great video, as unfortunate as it is, because you don't want to ever have an officer involved in a shooting. But it's a great training.
I think the closest we'll ever get, because I'm sure we're going to speak. I probably speak to you more than anybody, because with officers is involved shooting. Unfortunately, but I think the closest we'll get to critiquing good shoot or not is if we have to talk about muzzle awareness.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying, something like that. But hey, you got to shut me up, Jason, because I just get to talking. So let's get to the video, okay? Let's check it out, and I'm gonna pull it up here, and folks, just be patient with me now. I'll get it up, and it's only about 2 minutes, so we're gonna let it play through. My computer just got me going all this madness here. All right, here we go. Start at the beginning, about 2 minutes long. Did it?
Hey.
Fuck you.
Hey.
Come here.
What's up?
Come outside.
What's happening? Why are we yelling at each other? Don't call me a bitch.
Come outside. Come inside.
Come here.
Shut up.
Stop.
Come here. I'm gonna
Stop.
kill you. I'm gonna kill you in a minute.
Stop.
Shut up, bitch. Get
Do not.
Get back.
Stubby, step
Yeah,
it
I
off.
told you to get back.
Stop. If you want to get tased, do you want to get tased?
Show me.
Do you want to get tased? I'm going to tase you.
Show me.
Taser appointment.
Oh my God. Come on, bitch.
Put that down.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it real quick, okay, Jason?
Yeah.
Because you got me looking at grip now, just like when I became a DRE, I'll just look at everybody's pupils now. Now I'm gonna start looking at everybody's grip. So even with the taser, she had that little overlap, the thumb overlapping the hand there. I mean, did I see that right?
Yeah, with the taser too, a lot of people don't know is that distance is your best friend, because that's going to give you a better spread on each of the prongs.
Exactly. Okay.
So you need that distance when using the taser.
Okay. So back in it. No, now just real quick, at this point, it looked like it stung him for a minute, but then now he's pissed.
Oh, he's pissed off.
Put it down. Put it down. He's got a knife in his hand. Put the knife down.
Whip.
Put it down.
Put
Put it down. I'm going to shoot you. Put it down. Put it down. Put the knife down. Put the knife down, sir. Put the knife down. I got him at gunpoint. Still got the knife. Put the knife down! Put it
Hold
down!
on.
Put it down!
Hold on real quick.
Drop the knife,
I'm
police!
gonna play it.
Drop the
It's
knife!
gonna come down here a little bit.
Drop it!
Let's see if I can. Did that screen expand for you?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
All right, good.
Knife!
Oh, it didn't help at all. It didn't help at all. I wanted to show the grip on that real quick because you're going to talk about it later on.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it, and I don't think a lot of people see that.
So I just
But,
want to
again,
give a good visual of it real quick. Is that cool?
It's a stressful situation, so let's keep that in mind.
Yeah, of course.
I just want you to kind of also take note how involved she is on the radio versus, she's got someone at gunpoint.
Right.
Potentially, she might have to shoot. I'm not worried about what's on my radio. She's already relayed what's going on, and that's it. Units are coming.
Gotcha. Now it's her safety.
Yep.
All right, let's continue. I rewound it a little bit. Let's check it out.
I'll come after you right now.
Drop the knife, police!
Knife.
Drop the knife!
You have not.
Drop it, the knife!
Where's that building?
Shot fired!
Heavy.
Shots fired,
Whoa,
multiple
let's
shots
see that
fired.
again.
Put it down!
I'll come after you right now.
Drop the knife, police!
Knife.
Drop the knife!
You have not.
Drop it, the knife!
Where's that building?
2,
Shots
3.
fired!
Heavy.
Grenade.
Shots fired, multiple shots fired.
Okay. All right.
So
just go ahead, man. Train away, bud.
Listen, right away, she's unholstered. She's giving verbal commands, and she's already relayed that this is escalated. He has a knife. I have him at gunpoint. At that point, I'm not transmitting anymore, personally.
Because the traffic's out there.
Traffic's out there. All right. You need to focus your eyes and your awareness to what the threat is. And you see every time she goes and keys up and she puts her hand back on the gun, man, she's got that support hand thumb wrapped around the back end of the pistol, which is not a proper grip. We all know that support hand thumb needs to be extended along the slide. All right. And then if you look at the back portion of the gun, there's a lot of space there. And any instructor will sit there and tell you at the range, hey, listen, your grip's messed up. Your grip's messed up. So obviously we're in a stressful situation. She's stressed out. All right. But she's so focused on the radio. If she would have just kind of got rid of that, and you see the guy going back in and forth, back and forth, back and forth, that's your time right there to get your proper grip. Now you see if she's backing up. Now let's go into the qualification. There is, I don't know about yours, but ours, we don't have a portion where you're shooting and backing up. All right.
No, there's not. And we did a lot of that, but just in range days. And so I told you a couple of weeks ago that, I thought we did. But the fact of the matter is not in quals.
Yeah. So now we see one shot go off. Okay. This guy is still, pursuing her. And we're still within that 7, maybe 5. Actually, I was like 5 yards at one point. What does she do after that first shot? She goes back to her radio, and now she's strong hand shooting. Honestly, why? Like, why is her mentality to get back on the radio? So now she's single hand shooting. And if you watch the way that recoil's going, and if you watch the way, you could tell that those rounds are missing. They're completely missing. She goes back to two-hand shooting with improper grip and fires another 4 more rounds while backing up. Still within that 7-yard distance, I would say.
The guy kind of looked invincible.
He looked invincible. Come to find out, out of all those shots, she hit him 1 time in the leg. That's it. And looking at that video, you got to ask yourself, okay, why? Other than if we take the stress factor out, all right, if you were to kind of remove that, and kind of break it down is what was wrong. And right away, it's going to be grip. It's going to be her single hand shooting, which she didn't have to go to. It was going that she's moving backwards. All things that could have been preventable if there was time on the range.
Mm.
And I don't know how much time she's been on the range. I can't, give you that answer. But I can say that if you spend enough time and you get that training and you don't rely on the qualification, like we spoke about many times, maybe one of those factors could have been removed. All right. Maybe that one factor that, getting rid of that, maybe she had a proper grip. All right. Or maybe she didn't rely on, worrying about her radio so much.
Mm.
You are in a gunfight now, I would say, for her. Get the threat down. All right. Make sure there's no secondaries and then relay everything. Hey,
Yeah.
listen, officer involved shooting, send me a supervisor, send me medics. All right. Suspects down. All right. But she was so worried about getting this over the radio. I think that was a major factor in what happened there. And then moving backwards, she's probably not comfortable, walking backwards and shooting. You're shooting, I think it was 8 rounds, and you hit one time in the leg, and you're about 7 yards away.
And I think that's because she, it's probably because she threw the round, because she muzzle was at the torso, at least. Yep. I think, and the radio
brought that up.
Huh? Go ahead.
We're
yeah.
Go
okay.
Into that. I'm glad you brought that up, but go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the radio. I think it's tendencies for most people to just like I can't say that I wouldn't be like, I'm not thinking I know you're coming. I'm thinking you ain't here yet. You know what I'm saying? Get your ass here. Get your ass here. That's what I'm saying. So like hindsight, 2020, right? So I see where you're coming from. But that being said, so I understand her mental in that. But that being said, that's what the training is about. You know what I'm saying? To do it over and over again. Because it's like the golf swing, man. You can't do. You can have a badass range session, but if you don't do the same thing again soon, you're gonna purge all that shit. You're gonna start all over again.
Exactly. And
go ahead.
If you look at it, this happened from the ready. I wouldn't call this shooting from the holster. I really wouldn't. It's from the ready. She was at the ready, threats in front of her. Okay. And she didn't take the time just to establish that grip, and establishing that grip takes half a second, for you to get a good grip. But again, it's a lot. She's got a million things going on, and she's basically saying, "Get over here now. I need help. Like it's about to go down." And once I get that grip on my firearm, I'm not breaking it until the threat's down. And simple drills, moving back and forth, left and right, will help you really understand how to read your sights. And that's what I was going to say. You said she was aiming at the torso, right?
Right.
There's a reason why. And a lot of people don't know that too. So I don't know. Do you guys use the FBI Q targets for qualification?
It's always, head to belly button. You see what I'm saying? And you might have a silhouette of a knife, dude with a knife, and he's off to the side like that. You know what I'm saying? Or you got, but it's always a silhouette, the head to belly button.
So that's what you guys use then? You used?
Well, that's what we use. Well, now keep in mind, I haven't been with the Highway Patrol since 2021, but my whole career, that's what they use.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Now, unless it was some sort of every once in a blue moon, they throw out bullseye targets type deal for points and things, and but almost always, if it wasn't that, it was the big T.
Okay.
And the T in the box, right? The T represented the head, the box represented the torso, but it was still the same concept, right? You got a head, you got a torso, shoot.
So we use the FBI Q targets, and it kind of looks like a bowling pin almost.
Okay.
All right. And those were designed, it was like a whole study by the FBI. And they were like, all right, we got this target, you got to put so many rounds inside a target to qualify, right?
Mm-hmm.
During the study, they started realizing, students having difficulty. So they ended up putting like a Q dead center, all right, to give
Right.
them like an aiming point, right?
Okay.
Well, that Q, if you look at the Q target, if you were to put it kind of equivalent to a human, it's going to be right above the belly button. So when you go to qualifications, officers are so used to seeing that Q that they're always aiming at that Q. All right. Instead of aiming up that upper thoracic, where that heart, where those kill shots are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's now ingrained inside their head and they don't even know it. When I went through my instructor
So subliminal kind of.
Yeah, it basically is. When I went through, my law enforcement instructor school, my instructor broke that down and said, hey, listen, yes, you want to use that real estate on the Q target for qualification, but you need to get your guys out there training on realistic targets because they're going to aim for that Q over and over again for 20 years and they're getting involved in shooting. And it's been proven that most police shootings, they're like, oh, he wouldn't go down. So I put 7 rounds in him. And they look at the round placement and they're all right below the heart, right above the belly button.
Yeah.
Right where that Q would be versus in that upper thoracic. Officers are so used to just, I'm just going to qualify. Let me get the rounds on paper. I'm good to go. Instead of getting a realistic target out there, an A zone target, and practicing, what it would be for you to actually shoot a realistic person. And, in the military, they used to have silhouettes that were the same exact size that a person would be. And when you engage them, they would go up and down, depending if you hit it. And the only time it would go down if you hit it in a vital part of that target, which was that upper thoracic. That's the only way it would go down.
Damn, that's a training aid right there.
And it was because it taught you, all right, I need to aim up higher and get in that upper thoracic.
Right.
If you look at her single hand shooting, that gun was all over the place. All over the place.
So can I stop you there real quick?
Yeah.
Because forgive me, but now with the single handedly and she's handed and she's not hitting anything. Now you're going, what's behind you? What's behind this? You know what I'm saying? Because she's not hitting him. So what's behind her? Is what I was thinking.
Listen, again, we're not going to get into the justification of the shooting. Let's say it's 100% justified, but at the end of the day, she's accountable for every one of those rounds she missed.
Yeah.
She's accountable for every single round. We're all accountable.
Right.
All right. Every round has a lawsuit attached to it. And that's one thing you have to know. So if the minimum standard is 80%, and if you're happy with that, just know that, there's 12 rounds out there with your name attached to it. Not the person you hit, it's your name, because that's going to be the lawsuit underneath yours. And I had an instructor in my department, and he broke it down to me when I was young in my career. I was like, wow, I never thought of it that way. If you are okay with 80%, he's like, I don't know really what to tell you, but you need to push for 90%. He's like, for me, I want 100% because I don't want that one round sitting on my shoulder when I go home at night. Did I hurt someone? Did it hit someone? Was it an innocent person? We don't want that collateral damage.
Yeah.
When he explained that to me, I was like, all right, I need to get better. And that's why I started seeking training, because I don't want 90%. I want 100%. I want 100% qualification. I want to hit 60 out of 60. And then I want to go to the range and I want to practice, and go 100 for 100 rounds without missing. 80%, if you're happy with that, you shouldn't be carrying a gun. If you're okay with that, you need to start thinking twice about the job that you're in. It's not enough.
Because it's a huge responsibility we carry when we decide to take that oath. You know what I'm saying? And in so many different elements that you can't think about all at once. You know what I mean? So you gotta take the training and do whatever you got to do for it to just be second nature to you. But and speaking on that, you said you had something set up for us where you actually at your training ground, your training facility, where you had the same scenario to an extent, but it's the same movements. Even when you switch to one hand, strong hand only, back to a standard grip. I mean, you did it exactly the way you saw it, right?
Yeah, so we tried setting it up in a way that it was very clear what we were doing. We basically made a drill out of it. So we set up a target and we started about maybe 5 yards. All right. At the time, we did it at the ready. All right. Again, this involved shooting did not happen from the holster. She was out for about a good 15, 20 seconds before she engaged. So for me, that's a ready. She's at the ready. So we did this drill at the ready, at the buzzer, starting at 5 yards. While backing up, I engaged 2 rounds, all right, 2-hand shooting. All right. I then went to the strong hand shooting, fired 2 rounds. And at that point, I'm about 7 yards. I then got to about 10 yards and I fired 3 rounds, 2-hand shooting again. So we started at 5, 7, and then 10 yards. And we performed this drill. All right. And the way we did it is that I set up the steel that as long as I hit within the A zone, which would be the upper thoracic of engaging someone, you're going to hear that ding, 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 that beautiful sound you all love to hear at the range. You're also going to see on the target that we're using is a visual indicator. And again, I think we talked about this. The targets we use were from the steel we used was from Grizzly targets, and then the visual targets you're going to see, the actual white silhouette, the zone targets is from Infinity Defense.
Okay.
Right, the Infinity target. So you're going to get a indication through sound, and you're also going to get a visual. All right. And as much as I could say this was my first run. When we did this, it was the first run. All right. We actually ended up doing it twice just to show that, it's possible. And the time I gave myself to do this was 7 seconds. That's from the first shot to the last shot. I said it needs to be done within 7 seconds, which is about what she did.
I was just going to ask you, is that the time frame of those 8 shots she took?
Correct. Okay. So again, we try doing this as best we can, setting up as best we can to be fair. And I know people are like, oh, well, the target wasn't moving towards you. You weren't fat. We did it.
Plus, there's all that going on. But I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to say that before we showed the video. Yes, we know that you're not stressed. We know that you have nothing that's going to hinder your judgment, whatever. But we're saying if you do that 100 times, when the stress comes, you'll do it stressed, right?
Correct.
And
that's the
perfect
whole
type thing.
So looking at that situation, we created a drill to basically train for that.
Right.
So people are like, oh, there's no train for that. Well, listen, we can only give you so many of the factors that were involved. All right. Now, can I go out and buy a mechanical remote that someone sits behind me and it walks toward? Yes, they're out there. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have thousands of dollars because I am a law enforcement officer and we don't make that much good money. But we set up as best we could for what we had for the time frame we had. I think we talked about this. I think I did this in 4 days. So I did make this video. So let's see if I can actually pull it myself.
Yeah.
So let me know if you see it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jason's teaching me about shooting, and I'm teaching him about pulling up videos on podcasts.
So
let's see if the training worked.
this is our Instagram, and again, there's a lot of videos on here on different drills we do and everything like that. But this is one we're going to focus on right now.
Ready?
Pause it. So right here we have our target. I'm about maybe 5 yards. I'm going to back up to about 10 yards. Fire 2 rounds, 2-hand shooting. Then I'm going to go to strong hand shooting with 2 rounds, and then I'm going to finish off with 3 rounds.
Okay.
So let me play this. I'll play it a few times so people can watch it.
I was going to say.
So here we go.
For time from the ready. .35 split.
Ready?
Okay, one more time.
Yeah, yeah.
There we go.
I mean, man,
Let's see if I
you
can.
kept it steady even with the strong hand. I mean, me out of throwing rounds. As soon
Can
as
you
that-
see me now?
I can see, yeah.
All right, so I could go back to that video again, but you actually can see where I'm actually hitting.
Mhm.
All right, and the grouping was probably the size of a fist. All right, and you hear that sound. So we're hitting that A zone, that upper thoracic. You know, so if you do a drill like this at the range, and you just kind of do it over and over again, and if you realize that okay, 7 seconds is too long, go to 6 seconds, go to 5 seconds. You can't hear my partner back there, but he actually says I did in 3.5 seconds.
Mhm.
So I was able to shoot 7 rounds, backing up, and 3.5 seconds, well below the part time that I set for the drill.
Mhm.
That right there is a very simple drill you can do. You don't need fancy equipment or anything like that. Paper target's fine. All you need is a timer. Okay.
Right.
And again, I could sit here and say, oh, well, I wasn't giving commands on the radio or anything like that. Yeah, we could sit here and do that all day. All right. Could I maybe ran 25 yards to get my heart rate up and then did it? Yes, I could. And that's another way to do it. If you see yourself succeeding, find failure at the range. Don't find failure in real life. This is a basic drill, and you could do it in different ways.
Damn,
All right?
well said, brother.
I try to say it best
Kind
I
of
can.
deep.
Find failure when you're in a controlled environment, not when
Mhm.
you're in an environment that you have no control over. And that's what we're here for. If law enforcement officers say, well, I don't get exposed to this, well, come with us. We'll expose it to you. If you have a question and you want to drill, I'll go to the range and I'll film it for you, because I'm a firm believer in demonstrating everything. We don't ask you to do anything that we wouldn't do ourselves.
And folks, he knows that he pulled up that video from his Instagram page. So I assume they can DM you or whatever.
DM me, email me,
you. Yeah.
be like, hey, listen, what's a good drill to really practice? And I'll either send you a video of us already doing it, or I'll film it, or I'll have my partner do it. There's a lot of drills out there that can help you with a lot of these issues that I think could be preventable in real life.
When do you think you'll? Because I'm assuming you will. So I was just gonna say, when are you going to incorporate taser? Is that something you guys are gonna expand to tasers?
So, I mean, right now we don't see us doing that because New Jersey laws are a lot different when it comes to taser.
Okay.
They're very, very strict, number
Mm.
one. And number two, a lot of times tasers are only carried by supervisors. Now, that is changing very slowly. We're getting more tasers out there, but the restrictions on tasers are still very, limited. You go down south, they tase like giving out candy. Like, you're looking at me funny, I'm going to tase you. Like, that's just how it is. You go to Florida, you look at an officer wrong, you're getting tased. Like, there's no
Yeah.
really use of force with that. Up here, you need to have deadly force in order to use a taser. At that point, you're better off using your firearm.
Yeah. So I guess that what I thought was a pretty smart question is kind of not a very good question, because every agency, every state, every county, blah 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 blah. There's going to be such vast differences on policy on that, whereas firearms training universal.
It's very universal.
So yeah, I guess I thought I was going to impress you with my intelligent question, but it wound up being the stupidest question I've asked yet.
Nah, man. I mean, listen, and that's how you learn. Like the whole thing. Like there isn't really no dumb question. You might get laughed at, but there is no dumb question, because that's how we educate and that's how we learn. And that's why I love going to different training events or having people come to our training events for different departments, because you sit there and you're like, oh shit, you guys can't do that, but we can. Oh wow, we can't do that and you can, you're like, oh man, why is that? And you talk to them, you bring that back to your department and you're like, hey, listen, can we incorporate this? Or, hey, listen, this is working for this department. And that's the great thing about going to these training classes is you get exposed to not only, training like that, but you get exposed to other officers and what they're dealing with. Or they might be like, hey, listen, like I told you that the state troopers,
Mhm.
like, oh, I have to set it up this way. My department, that's policy. Like, it's like, all right, well, it's the reason why you're slow. It's the reason why you're not functional. There's a reason why you're having issues. It doesn't work for you.
Right.
Go back to your department, like, hey, listen, we need to try something different. This is out of everything we deal with and we learn, traffic violations, criminal justice, domestic violence, drug overdoses, counseling, all that stuff. Everything that we learn, firearms training is the one thing that I feel is not really truly pushed enough.
Amazing, isn't it?
It is. And it's sad. I saw a Instagram post and I sat there and I read it. I was like, man, this is true. And it said, it had like at the top, it had law enforcement officers and excuses on reasons why they don't go get training. I'm not getting paid for it. My department won't send me. My department won't give me ammo. I'm going on vacation. It doesn't work for my schedule. And at the very bottom, it said civilians. Civilians use their own PTO. Civilians use their own money. Civilians use their own ammo. Civilians seek out training. Why are there civilians out there that are getting trained at a higher standard than our own law enforcement officers? And on top of that, if you look at the military and the special forces, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, you hear these guys and top of the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who trains them?
The civilian?
Civilians.
Hey, who knew? I didn't even know that.
Why? And you know what civilians are training them? It's competition shooters.
Yeah, the dudes are bad.
There's a reason why. Because
what's
they
what's that old dude's name? Old dude. He might not even be alive anymore. But he made a revolver sound like a semi-automatic. He made a shotgun sound like a machine gun. You know, this is an old
I
dude.
think I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, this man was in the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, World War I and II. I mean, that's how he was up there in age last time I saw him. But I mean, he was quick as hell. I guess you don't know his name.
Nah, I think I know what you're talking about. But again, like, listen, you got competition shooters out there that they understand movement. They understand very well the fundamentals of shooting. And again, like I think we spoke about him, JJ Rakaza. Okay.
Yeah.
If you go to his website, he offers free training to all law enforcement officers. Free training. Free. Okay. Typically, one of his classes costs around $600 to $800. He offers free training to any law enforcement officer. So if you go to howitzer.com, it's a t-shirt company, which is actually funny. I'm actually wearing their shirt right here.
Howitzer.com.
All right. Yeah, it's Howitzer. That's it. Yeah, Howitzer. And look up Blue Line Project. They offer any free training to any active law enforcement once a year. Once a year.
Are they in Jersey too?
Everywhere.
Oh, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Well,
they're everywhere.
No excuses.
No excuses. You go on there, you show your credentials, you could pick from a whole bunch of instructors. All right, a whole bunch. Actually, you know what? Tell you what, I'll pull it up right now just so it makes people's life easier. How about that?
That'd be great. Do my job for me, Jason.
So let's see. I'm gonna open up my Instagram here real quick, and
let me stream it in here.
So they're a clothing company, and great company, right? So if you go to their website, so I'm on the website. You can see it right here, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Howitzer with a Z.
Howitzer. Yep. So let's see. All right. So if you go to mission, blue line, Project Blue Line. All right. Sorry about that. They offer free training to all law enforcement officers under any of these instructors right here. You got Rick Craw from Achilles Tactical. You got Mark from First Defense. But here's the guy I want you to look at. These two guys right here. You got JJ Ricazza and Max Michael. Both are USPA shooters.
JJ, where'd you show that again?
You see right JJ Ricazza right here?
Okay, yeah. What are you scrolling down?
Yeah, scroll down just a little bit. Are you streaming or am I streaming it?
You're the one that's streaming on that one.
All right, can you see JJ Ricazza right here?
Cannot. But
oh, okay, hold on. Why isn't that scrolling down?
Go back to share the screen.
All right. Says stop sharing.
Oh.
Oh, hold on. Okay, I know what I'm doing wrong. Hold on. I know what I'm doing wrong. There we go. All right. Can you see that now?
I can see. Oh, let me add stream. There it is, right there.
Right.
Yep.
So here they are, T-shirt company. I'm actually wearing their shirt right now. They a great cause. Okay, a lot of good gear. But what I want to show you right here is their mission and then Project Blue Line. If you click on that and you scroll down, apply for free training. 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 These gentlemen here are offering free training to any law enforcement officer at all in the United States. JJ Ricazza, all right? 3-time world champion. You go on here, you apply for their training. Very easy. You fill this out, you're done. That's it.
Okay.
Achilles Heel Tactical is a great guy to work. Trainer Rick, he's a great instructor. I actually took one of his classes. Great class, great instructor. All right, and that's all you do. You fill this out, and you are allowed to use this once a year.
You know, is it a one-day thing, multi-days, what?
So hold on, I'm going to play this video for you guys.
Okay.
Again, this is free training, by the way.
With 3 rounds, I'm going to actually build a quantifiable unit of measure of distance on what my mechanical offset is at 3, 5, 7. The next ones, we don't even draw it. Now we just superimpose and we know our mechanical offset. We project and we move it up and we confirm that data on the top stick, still just shooting 1 round.
My name is Chris with New Jersey State Police. Been in law enforcement 18 years. I'm a sergeant with the K-9 unit. I'm fortunate to have a position as a firearms instructor within the unit. The amount of stuff that can be transferred to those guys from this class is tremendous. It's months of great training from one class today.
Paul Costa from New Jersey State Police. This is my K-9 partner, Kane. Rick has a really good way that I've actually never experienced, and I've really articulating and explaining the fundamentals where you can grasp them and then apply them and instantly put them into performance. So I took a lot back as an instructor from the way he instructed and with the little nuances on how to relate them to other guys that I work with, and I'll definitely plan on passing them on.
Oh, that's awesome. That dude's smooth as eggs.
So listen, man. I'm gonna go back into the chat here with you.
Yeah.
Can you see me?
Yep, gotcha.
So again, that's free training. Free.
Free.
Right? And they're great instructors. JJ Ricazza is another one. He's a USPA shooter. All these guys are all prior SWAT, military. They're all fire instructor. I took that class where that video was filmed, the one I just showed you, and all the people there were all firearms instructors, all of them, and we had a lot to learn because we were being exposed to things that I'm like, oh shit, I didn't think of it that way. I can now explain it to my students. But you don't need to be a fire instructor to take that class. You just need to be a law enforcement officer, active anywhere in the United States, doesn't matter what state, and they're all over the world. And you can't beat free, you know? I would wish,
especially when they're not going to half-ass the training either. So
yeah, I wish our company could get to that point, and that is a goal of mine. It really is. But for right now, my company, we do offer, a very, very hefty discount to any law enforcement officer who's paying for their own training. But
love
listen,
that.
the training's out there. You need to seek it out. If I can't get you to my class, and if you are in a certain location, I have no problem doing the research and putting you in the right direction. You just DM me. It's not, to me, this is not about becoming rich and famous. It's about ensuring that our brothers and sisters are being trained to the highest standard possible. Sometimes you got to pay your own pocket, but literally, I just told you there's a program out there that gives free training to anybody who's law enforcement.
That's a passion right there. That's a man that's doing it for the passion and for law enforcement community safety. So big us, man. Shout out to you, man.
Yeah, definitely. But listen, man, again, just you gotta get out there. You gotta get out there. If you see something and you're like, all right, can I do that? Instead of sit there and, like I said, instead of me sitting there and just completely tearing apart that female, all right, let me go out there and see if I could do it first.
Right? I love that.
I was in a controlled environment, okay? But I can tell you right now, like, after we did that one run, we kind of stepped it up a little bit. All right, let's see how crazy can we get.
Yeah.
And that's something that me and my partner do on our own, because then we find that failure. And once we find failure, we get pissed off and we're like, all right, let's do it again until we do it right. And let's make a drill out of it and let's bring it to our students.
Fire. I have a feeling we're going to speak a whole lot more.
Yeah, definitely, man.
A whole lot more, and when it goes down, and that's what we need to do, because until we can convince as many people as possible, while we're convincing as many people as possible to go out and seek this, we can talk to it, and every time we talk about it, it's going to light some fire in some asses. So that's good. That's really good.
That's the great thing about your guys is what you guys got going with Leo Network is you've made it very easy for anyone who's law enforcement to go on to a single website, put there where they live or where they work at, and say, hey, boom, this is all the training that's offered here. It's right there in front of you.
And it's for the greater good. You know what I mean? I mean, the man who started the company, it seemed like he was in training every Thursday. So, but
he's a canine though, right?
Yeah, he's a canine,
why.
And rightfully so, because like I said, it's a perfect fit. He's a canine because every time if he gets his teeth into something, that fool ain't letting go.
No, there's like an inside joke, I think, with like anyone who knows a canine. It's like, oh, the reason my PTO got canceled is because he got canine training.
Hey, I'm glad we got. I'm glad we got that on the. I'm glad we got that on the recording. You might get booted, but I'm glad we got it on the recording.
That's all right. I think it's funny, but nah, it's all jokes aside, and they need it. The biggest lawsuits will be a canine and reason why they use their dog.
Oh yeah.
They need that training, and those dogs. It takes a lot to really. I've seen these dogs, man. They won't do nothing without that command. And it's just crazy.
Yeah, I've seen their handlers. I've seen them handle it. You know what I mean? Yeah, my only beef is that when they're in the patrol car, when they're in the whip, anybody who walks within 5 miles of these guys, they're barking until the windows break. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, this is fantastic, Jason. I appreciate you coming on again. I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. As you know, they don't know, but you know, I jump right on it. I'm like, let's get it. And so you did the inaugural podcast, and you've now done the inaugural special edition podcast.
There we go.
And we're calling it a special edition relevant to current events. So all these trainers that we get out to, these people like Jason, we get it out to law enforcement and the community. If something pops up that speaks right to what they're training you to avoid or to get you through or to keep you safe through these situations, whatever, we're going to jump on and have a special edition, and we're going to bring you the story, the scenario, what can help you if something like that, you know, how you can get through it, something like that. You have to go through what can help you through it, and so on. And it's going to be a wider range. But get used to that face, Jasen Ortiz, right there, because you're going to be on quite a bit. I have a feeling. But
I'm always willing to come on here. I definitely want to get you on the range, though.
Hey, they said they're going to send me. Now I don't know when.
Let's do it. Listen, I will come out to South Carolina. You said, right?
South Carolina, yeah.
Listen, I did some time in South Carolina. I will come down there, just not during that humidity, muggy season, though.
Yeah. Good luck with all of that, man. That's what I miss in California at the minute. And by the way, folks, when I do that, it won't be a comedy. I'm going to be trying really, really hard, but it won't be a comedy. So tell them the website again. Tell them the Instagram and the Facebook and the I don't even know if it's Twitter anymore. I think it's called X or whatever. Tell them everything you got.
Listen, man, you check us out on Instagram. We got videos up there. We do different drills. We got the TikTok. You know, I'm not really good with social media because I grew up in a different generation, but we post a lot of things on TikTok and Instagram. We do have our Facebook. You can find us out at 000tactical.com. We're always updating our website on upcoming classes. You know, if you are a law enforcement officer or just a private citizen or whatever it is, and, you know, if you got 3 or 4 guys in your department who just want training, hit us up. We'll get you out to our private range, and we'll give you what you're looking for. If you want to hit certain skills, we'll focus on that. We'll throw you to the ringer. We'll throw you to different drills. You know, we're going to open up your eyes. We're going to push you to the limit. But, yeah, check us out.
Can we give the email too?
Yeah, so a good email for me directly is going to be Jay at 000.com.
Not 000 tactical. I think it's 000 tactical. No,
it's 000 tactical.
Oh Lord, I corrected him. We done switched.
I don't even know my own email, man.
We switched roles. He was playing the damn videos that I'm talking about. But the reason why I bring it, so Jay,
000tactical.com.
Right, JAY.
Yes,
000tactical.com. And the reason I make sure they wanted to get that email, because before we go, I wanted to say that hell, you might have been aware in your area of a officer involved shooting that you're like, whoa, it threw your radar, threw your the hair on the back of your neck up, and you might want to email him and say this was the scenario. Whether you can give the deets or not, you know, who's involved, whatever, you can say, hey, what if such and such, and give it to him, and he's going to do his best, him and his team, to go out there and recreate that scenario on the range. And that way you can take it to your command and on range day, implement it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a huge deal for Jason. I know I'm grateful, and I'm sure anybody who sees this podcast knowing that you're doing that is grateful. So thank you. Thank you.
No, definitely, man. I appreciate it. You know, we just all you're doing. If they contact us, you're just giving me another reason to go to the range. And you know, I can say, oh, my wife. I tell my wife, oh no, I got to do this. It's part of the job,
bruh. You know what? You got a newborn, so. But again, even though it's a special edition, it is still giving a shout out and much thanks to our sponsor, which is CSECO or SECO, and that's Campbell Harris Security Equipment Company. Check out their website at cseco.com, and we'll be back again talking soon. I'll be recording one, I think another one tomorrow, and get it out to you. And Jason, great speaking to you, bud.
I'm gonna say one last thing too.
Go
Those drills that we put out there, those targets that we used, go on there. If you want to use those targets, we got promo codes, and use them. They're all on our website. They're all on our Instagram. For the steel targets, if you use TZT20, you get a discount on their targets. And then if you use 000 for the Infinity Defense, you get a discount on their targets too. So bring it to your department and tell them, hey, listen, we get it for a good price. So
he told you about free training, discounted targets. What else? What did I miss? Hey, just there's no excuse, people.
it's no excuse. It's out there. You just got to keep it.
Let's have whoever is running against spreading all these damn crap about law enforcement, not appreciating what we do. Let's have making up shit, because we do everything we're supposed to do to keep everybody safe.
There we go.
All right, cool. Appreciate you, brother. And podcast, if you want to get into it, just click the link in the description, and it'll get you to where I can get back in contact with you, and we get you out here and talk and talk about your training and so on and so forth. Jason, till next time, buddy. I'm sure it'll be soon.
All right, take care, man.